Hey kids, got a song today. Tell Ariel, he'll sing it your way. Hey kids, got a song today. Tell Ariel, he'll sing it your way.
Press the button, share your idea. Watch him make a song in no time. Love songs, salsa, party jams too. Funny little songs all about you. Got a joke, a rhyme, a melody line.
Ariel makes a song every time.
Sing it, Ariel.
Sing it, Ariel.
Make a brand new song. Sing it, Ariel.
Sing it, Ariel.
Sing it, Ariel.
Okay, apparently Nerdy begged. So the clock has started. I told Nikki we'll give them 1 hour because she has to go off and do like real life things.
I have to go off and do not just real life things, but I'm still recovering from yesterday.
Yeah.
And thanks to the kids, I think I'm starting to come down with that crud that they all get this time of year too. If you can hear it in my voice, I don't know.
Not too much. But anyway, where's Nerdy?
I don't
Nerdy,
know.
get your ass in here.
I told everybody to watch out for a live in a few minutes. Yes, getting old is a bitch. Hello, GMK. Not nerdy, but GMK.
There she is.
There's a
And of course, we have the man of the hour.
Yep.
Hey kids, got a song today. Tell Ariel.
I like that. That's cute.
Yeah. It's funny because I was thinking I need to come up with some new intros and outros, and I thought, oh, well, that'll work for right now. Got to decide who to pick on next. I don't want to keep doing Finkel Todd love songs. It gets a little redundant. Yeah. So do you think Todd will really go to just a gaming channel?
Todd's been saying that he's going to go to Rumble for a while. Hell, he was talking about it back when, back in the old days. I think he set up a Rumble channel. I don't know, but Rumble does pay more than YouTube.
Oh, does it? I thought people just went there because they can get away with saying a lot of crap that YouTube doesn't like.
No, actually, well, that too, but it does end up paying more, yes. And we all know that it's not embarrassment that is his issue. It's, money. That's why he always sets his goals. And if he does happen to reach a goal, he immediately sets another one.
I know.
I don't know what his deal is with money all of a sudden. I mean, they were doing just fine on his income and her income before YouTube.
Well, I would guess once he started making a little bit of money by just sitting on his ass and calling people fat whores and stuff like that, that he thought, oh, I want more. I want more. I want more. Hello, Alan.
Retard will never be able to keep from the periodic losing of his mind. It's such a small mind, it's easy to lose. And then Nerdy says it gets lost in the couch cushions periodically.
And yeah, I could hear it in your throat.
Yeah. Wait, I love my grandkids. I really do. Even though I threaten to give them away and whatever else because they're pains in the ass. All of them, not just PETA, the original. But this crap of giving me the crud and all of that, that's for the birds. But at least everybody can tell that I actually do spend time with them. I don't just make them up.
Well, I don't know. That could be the same voice you used to use to get off of work. Yeah, I really can't. I can't do it today. Hello, Howard.
No, even when I sounded like this, I still went to work. I was one of those who felt guilty about using sick days.
Well, the other thing about that too is why waste sick days when you're sick?
Right.
You want to save them for things like, going to the Amish flea market or going to see a concert or something.
Yeah, the 4th of July or, the day after. Hello, Howard.
Hello, Howard, our old friend. So I'm taking recommendations, although I may ignore all of them. Like I said, I need uh, some new intros, outros. So if anybody wants to recommend who the next target of those songs could be, go ahead and post them in a comment or something. I'll put the link out there for a bit. In case
That's the
anybody
YouTube
interesting
link,
comes.
not the StreamYards link. Sorry.
Well, I want people to go to YouTube. Next, I'm going to post my channel so they can find my channel. Picky, picky, picky. Yeah,
Yes,
Phil,
Dr. Phil.
nerdy begged. So, had to do it.
Oh.
See, now if someone like Dr. Phil actually comes up with an acceptable new intro or outro, we'll have Mr. Nicky make you a dozen cookies.
Well, you got volunteered. Oh, he said he don't make cookies. He makes
I was
cakes.
just going to ask if he does desserts. Yeah, cakes are hard because you have to like pour the stuff out of the box and you have to crack a couple of eggs.
You have to read the directions on the box.
They put directions on the box.
Yeah, they do. Intro
Hmm.
for who, Dr. Phil says.
Well, I'm kind of tired of just making fun of Finkel and Todd, so I need a new target.
Hi, Cart. Yeah, Cart doesn't like but like the I love you, babe. Oh, Lola is mimsying for you again, but she's not staying long, so.
Hey, I actually mimsied for Lola a little bit today.
Oh, did you?
Did you ever watch Green Acres?
Mhm. I think is that the one with,
Arnold the pig, the
um,
the New York lawyer and his wife buy
I
a rundown
is that
farm
Zsa
outside
Zsa
of Houston.
Gabor?
Ava Gabor, who's
Or
Ava,
yeah,
her
okay.
sister, yeah.
Yeah.
But she used to bake cakes, and it would say like put cake mix in pan and put it in the oven, and she'd be standing there and she'd throw the box of cake mix in the pan and putting it in. Her husband, whoever, would be going, well, wait, and then she'd pull the pan out and there'd be this beautiful cake in it.
I wish that was really how it worked.
Hey, one day,
Yeah.
ma- imagine like if our grandmothers or great grandmothers, whoever, would see microwaves. You know, hey, I
Ah,
just had a Salisbury steak dinner an hour ago that took 8 minutes to cook.
I can't say anything. We had chicken and dumplings that was made the old-fashioned way.
Mm.
Boil the
Oh, that'd be good.
chicken, peel the chicken off of the bone, make the dumplings, flour and eggs, salt.
Hmm. Did you put potatoes in there? Or
No, no,
I
not
was
in chicken
trying
and
to
dumplings.
picture it. Yeah, and it's sort of, do you cook it? You sort of, is it like in a bit of a gravy instead of just water?
It's
Do you
actually, you boil the chicken and you use that chicken
broth?
stock broth.
Yeah.
Um, Peel the chicken off the bones, throw it back in, bring it back to a boil, and then, you spoon your flour mixture in for your dumplings, and that last little bit that didn't really get all mixed up, but it's in there, you just dump that in, and it makes the stock a
Okay.
little bit thicker.
Yeah. That's I sort of picturing like sort of a light gravy, not really like you would make for putting over mashed potatoes.
Yeah. Cart Nerdy begged, and Mux didn't see it, but I texted him and let him know
Okay.
that she begged. But then he threatened me with, "Only if I'm gonna join." So I said for an hour, so that's all you guys get. Unless, of course, things change and Mux changes his mind.
Speaking of which, I really like the way this came out. They said about the toy shop.
Mhm.
I just of that. It was like in one shot, it pretty much looked exactly what I wanted it to make.
Ye old gift shop. All right, well, the sun finally went down. Now I can, I have to worry about being blinded by the light.
Wake up, look at you. Blinded by the light.
Prove what, Howard? That the sun went down? Or that Muckster's such a softie? My blindness? Um, how about I think I'm a vampire. I'm allergic to the sun. Yep,
Can't
the
you see?
fangs start to appear when the sun down. Not only am I a bitch, but I'm a vampire too.
So you're a soul sucking and a blood sucking.
Yeah. Wow. Oh my lord. This person, he just said, "That's what happened to me. She sucked the soul right out of my body."
Oh, I
No,
just
I've
remember.
always been a third shift person, so and then Alan and Cart, I guess, were talking about F1 racing last
Oh,
night,
is that,
I think.
it just reminded me, I'm pretty sure the Oscars are on tonight. I used to watch that stuff all the time, and now I don't have that much interest in them. Well, maybe because I never get to see most of the movies.
I I never really watched movies. I mean, of course, I watched the big ones back in the 80s, um, but I guess, once I grew up, quote, unquote, everything turned to kid stuff.
Oh, I used to go to the movies all the time. I usually, by the time Oscars came around, I'd seen every movie nominated.
It's because you're a booby.
Mm.
I guess I'd rather be a booby than a bitch. 'Cause you's the bitch.
We used to we used to have Oscar parties every year.
Um, I think the last movie that we went actually to the movie theater to see was Cars,
Uh,
or the one about the trucks. Same about the monster trucks.
yeah, I don't know what my last one in the theater was.
Okay, it was monster trucks. My son just well, Mr. Nicky had to ask my son, so. Oh, okay. Then I'm sorry. Not me, old lady. I don't know who Ariel was talking to. If it's because you're a booby, unless he was talking to you. But if he was talking to you, then that's a bird with a sad life. Maybe I identify as a bird with a sad life. Yes, Muckster, it was you. He was saying that too, that you're a booby, about seeing all the movies at the Oscars.
I'm not really sure how that tracks. Oh no, we don't want to say that name. We don't have time for Track to come in today because by the time he would say hello, our hour would be up.
No, I think we would have, 30 seconds left. Just time to say goodbye.
Did you happen to see the thing I did about him going on Finkel's that day?
Mhm.
I like how he goes, I'm coming up anyway. Not yet, Alan. But we've heard it's good, mostly from you. I did watch one last night with the guy who plays Reacher on Amazon. It was, okay. One of those action movies with soldiers fighting off an alien invasion. Which, by the way, is a pretty good series if people haven't seen it. The Reacher on Amazon. Yeah,
Isn't
what?
that
That was
based
it
on a
for me.
book?
Yeah, yep. They were good books. I can't think of the author's name right now. Yeah, he has a whole series of those. And Tom Cruise had made a Reacher movie, and in the books, a lot of times, people will fight about, oh, hey, Eminem, uh, it's like, oh, that character isn't black. How do they have a black person? And a lot of characters, that kind of thing doesn't matter so much. Some obviously does, but Tom
Mhm.
Cruise playing Reacher, a big part of the character in the book is that Reacher is somewhere between 6'4" and 6'6" and built like a shit brick house, and Tom Cruise plays him. But, but the guy on
Um,
Amazon, he looks like Reacher. Mm.
okay. It's by author Lee Child and now his brother Andrew Child.
Oh, really?
hmm Wow, Jimmy, I didn't think you knew that. I, I, I said the author's names, and he goes, "Oh, Reacher."
I didn't know his brother took over. I wonder, did he die or something?
That I don't know. Oh, well, hang on. Jack Reacher is a series of novellas, and short stories by British author Jim Grant under the pen name Lee Child.
Yeah. You know, Cart, this is why you're a bad friend. She says, "Are we going to ignore the GS? As his newfound friends." I just did a whole like 5 hour, a whole 5 minute thing on that. But no, you couldn't be bothered to come and see it. I did mean to mention on that, if he would actually do that, I feel bad for like Jeff and that. It's like, wow, gonna have to totally switch the show up. Hope they don't turn on me.
Well, I mean, I think it'll take him a little bit before he does it because the Chris situation is just too good for him to
Uh,
unsink his teeth out of.
if he would go to Rumble, does he really think a lot of people will follow him there?
He thinks so.
I mean, obviously Mimsy would because I'm pretty sure there's a rope connecting the two of them.
Yeah.
Just
And even if he did go to Rumble, um, it's not gonna stop Jeff or anything because,
yeah,
it's all clips that Jeff
that's
does.
true. Yeah, it's like if he does the gaming thing, he still wouldn't lose Mimsy because Mimsy will sit there going, "Oh yeah, way to play that golden calf card there, boss."
Yeah. I just, I don't know. It's I don't think a lot of people would follow him over to Rumble. I mean,
No, I don't think so either. Uh,
people are creatures of habit. Once
yeah,
you're stuck in one thing, it's hard to do or go someplace else until you're forced to. Unless it's, this younger generation who can go anywhere and understand it all. And because even Culture Club, when which I haven't seen a lot of hers lately, um, she switched over to Rumble, and she even said it was hard to do.
mm,
Yeah, exactly, Cart. Rumble is just another platform that requires extra work. Most people in his age group prefer the streets of YouTube over Rumble.
That's what I was kind of thinking of too. Hey, Kiwi, is about the only chance you'd have doing that is if he would attract all those kids that like his game, you know?
Hmm.
Yeah, because well, pretty much what Jens just said. Most of the older people aren't going to want to go learn a new platform and all that stuff. But then again, Todd is a, business genius. I think some days he makes as much as $5.80 off of YouTube.
Oh, he's going to be the next Elon Musk.
That's uh, on a slightly different subject. That's something else I saw one day. I always laugh when Todd will talk about somebody should get a job or whatever. Somebody spends all their time on YouTube. It's like one day I saw Chris went on somewhere and he was giving somebody business advice. And I thought, isn't your business pretty much defunct right now?
Yes, Dr. Phil, he already has a Rumble set up, but the question um, is he going to actually get the viewers? Because it's a whole different kind of setup over there, audience even. And I do think it'll be hard to get his audience to switch over there.
Well, as much fun as he is to make fun of, I personally won't miss him. I don't know. Are there a lot of subversives in Rumble? That would be a big part of the question.
I'm not sure. I'm sure that it could be arranged just for Todd.
Yeah, he'll manage to find them.
um,
You know, I wouldn't be surprised if something that's really making him think that way is how he can see he's losing people to like Killa. You
mhm.
know, it's like
Good
a
night,
lot of that
Ariel.
same crowd. Surely he's saying goodnight to somebody else. Or is that more of a goodbye? Or are you
Oh, it
going to
could be
bed at nine
goodbye.
o'clock?
He thinks he will make huge dollars as the new gaming king. He has stiff competition with the real gamers. Yeah. Especially since the real gamers are all, younger people and, 20s, 30s that have grown up playing games and
I was thinking, I hate to give him any ideas, but like I glanced today to see what he was talking about, and he was just playing that game and stuff. And I thought, one way you might be able to make that work better is instead of just like sitting there playing that game, I don't know if it's all against the computer, if it's random people, but if he's hooking up with these people at the game shop and stuff, is to have like, you know, hey, this Wednesday it's going to be um, generally specific against Water Buffalo 805 or what, like going
Mhm.
head to head against actual, and then you get like that person's people watching, because, and maybe it's just because I don't know that game that well, and I'm not interested in watching something like that. But I just don't see how you can really get a popular channel, but just by sitting there flipping those cards up.
Yeah. Um, Kiwi says he may need to do us a favor and become compost. I mean, even like when I go next door, and I hate to say it, but the kids next door, they have there's one channel, I don't even know what it is, but there's one channel that they watch, and the guys are actually playing like an action game, like, I don't know, it could even be like Grand Theft Auto, I don't know. Um, but they're playing the game, they're giving little hints, but they're also talking, and
Yeah,
not just about the game, but, just like you and I are talking right now, like how their day went, or if something happened, they discuss that, but and the chat on those just really flies.
really.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a guy on that TPP we talked about before, and I saw him other places after that that would play this game where you're a truck driver, and he seemed to have invested into a whole thing with a steering wheel and a dashboard and stuff.
Mhm.
But that's all it was driving a truck. It wasn't like you're running over hookers or anything. You're just driving a truck. And stuff like that, I just don't get it. You know,
Right.
I could I could see more, like the what do they call them, like the airplane
Simulator.
simulators. Yeah, that seems like it'd be a little more interesting than an 18-wheeler simulator.
Alan, I believe you're right. The one concept that eludes him is it doesn't matter what games you choose to feature, you still need to have an engaging personality.
Yeah,
And with it with saying an engaging personality, I still don't understand how come we have, 14, 15, 16 people coming in here because none of us have an engaging personality.
you know, I I think we're somewhat getting back to what we used to have going kind of in the earlier days of FMAC was a lot of times people were just coming in to meet each other and chat. You know,
Mhm.
it didn't have a whole lot to do with what we were talking about. It was like, oh, hey, nerdy, how you doing? You know, uh, either that or they're all just here still waiting for Finkel to come back.
That could be what it is.
Because, you know, we were nothing without him, obviously.
Or waiting for Finkel to come back and to direct Todd too. And that will never happen. Or at least I won't be around.
I'll tell you if, yeah, I guess even Finkel, if just about anybody would come in on other than a Monday night, I'd let them up, but my finger would be near the eject button, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's like I wouldn't put up with a lot of bullshit. If they wanted to have a serious conversation about something, I don't know. Of course, a lot would depend on the mood of the day. You know,
You're right.
hey, like the other day, what was that? Was it yesterday? I don't know. When I put up the live and I said, I forget what I called it, but it was basically whatever you want to talk about. But nobody really took me up on it anyway.
Yeah, and honestly, I think a lot of people are just tired of the explosions, the drama,
Yeah,
I mean, it's one of those things, it's like, a fire. Feel you feel sad about it, but you can't stop watching the disaster unfold. And like I said, anymore, I treat it like a soap opera.
as the Todd turns your stomach.
And coming up on this week's episode,
You know, the perfect example too of like you was saying, like Todd doesn't have the personality and stuff like that, is it is much more fun watching Jeff watch Todd clips than it is to actually watch Todd, you know?
mhm, and, Nerdy, to a point, yes. Nerdy
Which,
said to her, "It seems like every time you mention his name, he wins."
yeah,
But
there's that too.
it's
Good.
not just about winning. I mean, in his mind, it is.
Hmm. I always said that's another thing that his separated at birth twin, Chris, have in common is they both love attention, even if it's negative attention. You
Mhm,
know, I think most of us, well adjusted people that we are, I mean, anybody likes some attention. You want people to like you as long as they just stay the fuck away. Maybe that's just me. Um, but not many of us thrive on people calling you an asshole or a loser or a bum or whatever.
mhm.
But those guys actually do. It's just the idea that somebody is paying attention to them. And, you know, again, pop psychology, when you think about it, when I'm talking about, the twins separated birth, they both had some sort of fucked up childhoods. So it makes sense for that kind of stuff.
But even with that being said, having a fucked up childhood, at some point, you have to um, I I can't
Become an
remember
adult.
the word of it. Yeah, you have to become an adult. You have to realize that whatever happened, happened, and, kind of put it in its own box, put it away, and deal with the real world and, compensate.
Yeah, I know that's what I've. I was gonna say I've always said that, but I've said it for like 30 years now or whatever. Um, that yeah, once you get to be, we'll say anything over 25, when you're actually starting to become a fully formed person, if you're sitting around going, "Oh, I have this problem because my mother never hugged me" and stuff like that, it's like you recognize the problem, you recognize the cause, stop whining about it, and fix it. Even if fixing it means you have to go and talk to a professional or something, whatever it takes, you fix it. That's me and Era were talking. I'm not going to mention names, but we know somebody who is, I don't know how old, at least 40s or something, and just relies on the fact of talking about PTSD. And it's like, I'm this way because of that. Well, okay, that was 20 years in your past. You know you're that way because of that? Do something about it instead of just thinking everybody has to adjust to your problem.
Mhm.
Uh, um, there's something somebody said I was going to follow up on. I forget what it was. Oh, you know, you know what I thought of when you said this, Alan? Well, first of all, I still like how Finkel thinks you're being disingenuous when you've tried to make comments to him. But, I noticed for a while there, Finkel was getting very preachy. He was constantly talking about the steps and the steps and the steps. Now that he's over there with Drunken Todd, he doesn't seem like he talks about it as much. Like, of course, he doesn't want to, offend Todd, I guess. And and first of all, I do hate the reformed whore syndrome. The people who quit smoking and then go around telling everybody else they need to quit smoking or they quit drinking and whatever.
Mhm.
But on the other hand, too, it just seems funny that he would talk about it so much, but now he doesn't. Not when he's there anyway. Ingrown personality, I like that.
I mean, I don't know. Yeah, you're right. The reformed whatever. I can't stand them people. I mean, even here, Mr. Nicky, okay, he quit smoking. Yay, good for him. He was able to. He doesn't constantly get on me.
Yeah,
He does every once in a while say, "Hey, you really need to quit," or whatever, or, like, if I'm coughing in the morning, he'll go, "Mhm, smoke another one," that kinda stuff, but he is not harping on me.
not really nagging you. Well, the reason I use that term, I should say it. I'm so used to mentioning it, I forget people don't know the reference. Um, there was an old Paul Newman movie called Life and Time of Judge Roy Bean.
Mhm,
Okay, and if you ever saw it, it's very loosely based on a real guy who went to this um, West Texas town, and he basically, I think, like in the movie, there's a law book there, so he decides he's going to make himself the judge, and it's just one of these really small towns there, but he's now becomes like the judge of that territory, and he owns the saloon there. And as time goes on, the town grows, and at one point, he brought in a bunch of whores for his saloon, and then he ends up get married off to his deputies.
Mm-hmm.
So now, like 30 years later or whatever, 20 years, those women are now like the um, sort of like the women's temperance union. What are they're the society people in town, and so that one day they're coming and they're like protesting outside of his saloon and that down with alcohol or whatever. And uh, Paul Newman, as Judge Roy Bean, he's standing there. He goes, "There ain't nothing worse than a reformed whore," and it just totally sums up, like you say, people. So many people, when they quit smoking or quit drinking or whatever, then they cannot shut up about it to other people.
Yeah, and there's a lot. I want to say my dad is kind of that way. I mean, of course, I don't see him every day. Um, so I don't know if it would be an everyday thing, but I know when I go and visit him, it is mentioned quite a lot. I can't smoke in his house. That's fine. I'll go outside. And he'll go, "Well, if you quit smoking, you wouldn't have to go outside." And it's like, yeah, okay.
Uh,
Just because he quit smoking thousands of years ago and did it cold turkey, it's like, just quit harping on me about it.
Actually, I ended up doing that in our house without me being the reformed whore. I just, I might have told you this before, but I'll repeat it anyhow because that's what I do. And there might be someone here who hasn't heard it, but well, and like I've said before, years ago, every house had ashtrays, whether people in that house smoked or not.
Mhm.
Because it was just sort of the same as like offering people a cup of coffee when they came or something. It's just part of being a host. Um, but anyway, and that's what our house. No one there had ever smoked, and it was like back when I first came back from Pittsburgh. And I'm there, and it was my mother's house, and that one friend of mine, we were going to play some kind of game. I don't know if it was Uno or what. And he said about coming with a couple. I found out after he was like trying to set me up with this one girl's sister. But anyway, and that guy used to come to the house all the time and he'd sit there and he'd smoke. I never said anything. Anyway, we're sitting there playing this game and he lit up a cigarette and his friend lit up a cigarette. And the sister that I realized they brought for me takes out her pack and she says to me, "Do you mind if I smoke?" And I said, "You know what? I actually do." I said, "It actually does bother me, but nobody ever asked before." I said, "But go ahead." And she was like, "Oh, no, no, I won't then." And from that day forward, no one smoked in our house. It was like there's an ashtray out on the front porch. Even when my sister would come in, I don't know why she had started smoking for a while. It was like, "No, you can go outside." But it was just sort of funny, like it was just an accepted thing until that one girl was polite enough to ask.
Mhm. No, and
Like,
and like I said, I mean, I know it's, uh, his rules and okay, it's his house, his
yeah,
rules, that's fine. But don't come to my house and try and
yeah.
enforce your rules in my house.
Oh yeah, I totally agree. Like I would never, and I always hated smoking. My mother, when I was little, used to take me to bingo with her because, like I said, I think a lot of times she was afraid if she didn't take me, she'd come home and it'd be like, "Where's Danny?" And all the older kids would be going, "Who? What? I didn't notice." But anyway,
Yeah.
and I hated it because those bingo parlors used to just be these smoke-filled rooms, you know. Um, but yeah, like I said, but like if I came to your house and you lit up, I would never go, "Oh, don't smoke in front of me." It's like you don't like it, you leave my house, you know.
Mhm. But,
And I
I
think
mean, like
I would be willing to bet that you're like most smokers, though, too. You would try to make sure the smoke's not like going right towards the other person. You know, you put your cigarette under the table or you do whatever.
mhm. Well, and that's when he comes over here and it's like, okay, so maybe I don't smoke as much because I know he doesn't like it.
Yeah.
Um, or I'll go in the other room, but no, I'm not gonna, you know, I'm not gonna change who I am because you're in my
Mhm.
house.
You know what, Phil? That's actually a brilliant idea.
Well, that was Cart who actually mentioned it
Oh,
up
was it?
above. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? I bet he would actually become a happier person if he was doing that, 3 days a week or 4 hours a day, something like that. Hanging out with people like that who enjoy the same stuff he does, that could change his whole outlook on life.
All right, Nerdy, you have a great night. You got your
Oh,
hour.
she forces us to do this, and then she just goes off, gallivants away. We are coming up on the promised hour.
Yeah.
Wonder if
The only
anybody
thing
interested.
about him going and getting a part-time job like that is and I don't know. I don't know. Would it
Uh,
affect his VA rating?
as you do, as you were talking, I was wondering if that's where you're going, but you would. And again, I don't know anything really about VA disability, but I know like when people have like SSI, they are still allowed to do some, part-time work. I think, they could make up to a certain amount of money.
Yeah, it's like 1,500 a month, before it's considered substantial gainful activity.
So you would think since he says he's rated 50% disabled, that they would allow some kind of, well, and actually, I mean, if you weren't allowed any kind of outside income, they could get you just for the YouTube money.
Yeah,
But
like
yeah,
I said, I don't know.
that's the sort of thing that would just suit him.
It would suit him for a little bit, I think, but I don't know if he could
And stick
do
to it.
it because it wouldn't be all about him, the drama, yeah, like Kurt says. He's not suited to one-on-one customer service contact. He'd be throwing people out of the store just for disagreeing.
Well, I was going to say he would be constantly talking about himself. Oh, yeah, I had this one game and the guy almost had me, but I was holding on to my silver dragon or whatever it is they have, you know?
Mhm.
Right, kiddo?
Hi, Kittle. Secret came in, or that silly girl came in.
Oh, did she?
Yeah. Yeah, he did work part-time for Amber, so it shouldn't mess with his disability.
I don't know if you saw it or not, Secret, but I did a short thing on your video about Todd saying he was going to become a gaming channel. So we're still kind of discussing that stuff.
Oh, and he did work at the restaurant too.
Well, he was 30 years a professional gourmet sous chef.
Okay. No, I'm talking recently.
But I still like because I heard him say that one day. It was I was for 30 years, and I thought, how could you have been anything for 30 years? You know, when you've done nothing for the last 28. Unless maybe he does misspeak a lot. Maybe he meant to say I was 30 years ago.
It could be. Secret, that's kind of what we were saying. I mean, I know over there on Rumble you can say what you want pretty much within limits. You get away with a lot more on Rumble. It does pay a little bit better, not a whole lot, but it does pay a little bit better. But the question is how many of his followers would actually be willing to learn a new platform?
Yeah.
You know, us old people, which is really what he has, I hate to say it, um, are very hard to convince to try new things.
Well, you know, the other thing about it too, I was just thinking now, part of the appeal for us people who are, you know, deeply into the YouTube is we'll be doing other things on YouTube. You know, maybe you're just watching music videos, you're watching, you know, like I watch some of the 1A people, or, you know, I've heard some people like to watch those stupid AI stories. Um, but, you know, you're doing things like that. And then it's like, oh, look, Todd's on, you know, and they go and watch that then, you know, or whoever it is you. So, so not only would you have to learn a new platform, but you'd have to be going there specifically just for Todd because you wouldn't have that other associated stuff. You know, you wouldn't be like, oh, I'm already down here, you know, because of this thing I watch on Rumble or whatever. So, yeah, I got to think that would work against it. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Linda, hello.
And the other thing too, when you talk about now, he does, you know, he's a lot of times, you know, until Killa comes on, he'll have 80 to 100, maybe a few more than 100 watching. But on the other hand, I'm pretty sure his total subs have not changed significantly in like at least a year.
Let me go look.
And and that's kind of indicative of how your channel's doing.
Because I can tell you when I left, He was right at 1,500.
Well, he's got like, last time I
Oh,
looked, I think
he's
he had
got
like 2.2.
2.3.
Yeah. I think he's
Uh,
been hovering around that though for quite a long time.
yeah. But how many okay, that was how long ago did I leave? What, 2, 3 years ago?
Yeah, so that's not a whole lot of growth from that either.
That's
Yeah.
only what, 500, maybe 800 in 2 or 3 years? I don't remember. I don't remember how long ago it was that I left. At least 2 years.
Kiddo, hasn't he announced he's been going to be interviewing people several times that never actually happened? I remember back when he hated Finkel, he said he was going to interview his ex-wife, like he'd have any way of knowing how to find Finkel's ex-wife.
Yeah. What duties did he perform for Amber and for how long? I have no idea. That was one of those that he actually kind of kept on the down low until it um benefited him.
Yeah, who I think it's Spider that has the little graphic. Not sure if it's Spider or Jeff, where it's like I'm gonna, because he is always I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna.
Alicia from Ohio. I think she talked to him one time, but I think it was because she was duped, just like quite a few of us at the beginning. But she won't talk to him now.
How unusual. Somebody meets Todd and then they realize, yeah, I didn't really want to talk to this guy. He turned off the comments. Uh,
Oh, she was?
you know what though? I won't I won't say much about the turning off comments because every once in a while it seems like YouTube does that because I can remember me having something where it said comments was disabled and I couldn't see any way that I could put them back. So maybe he's not the one that did it, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Okay, Secret, let me say that when and not to cause any issues between you and I, when Todd and Rabbit were so-called friends, Alicia said she didn't want any more to do with him. Um, Now, however, that it seems like Todd has turned against Rabbit, maybe she's coming back to try and come for um, the attention that it brings.
Yeah, I have no idea who she is. So.
She is the girl in Piqua who Lion and Rabbit actually got to know her because she was exposing the fact that they were burning the electric batteries
Mm.
up there under their like firefighting practice. But they didn't look into, like, all the EPA stuff, and it was getting in the water and stuff. Hi, spider dog.
Hey,
Yeah, she also had gone to several city council meetings over there in Piqua, Ohio, where, like, they had a public park and they built a restroom, and the restroom cost, like, do you remember, like, $3 million for that restroom?
oh, geez.
Yeah, and so that's how Rabbit and Lion, as far as I know, that's how Rabbit and Lion brought her into the YouTube thing. Matter of fact, Cliff and I did have, and actually it was Lion who came up because Alicia couldn't make it. We did a story on it when I was with Cliff.
Yeah, I think I remember some of that. That might have been from watching you and Cliff. So, I'm just waiting for you to give the word that
I
you got to
know,
go
but
get some
then
rest.
everybody comes in and it's like I
Yeah,
I hate to.
I know, me too, but I don't want you pushing yourself.
Oh, I'm I drank some Dr. Pepper, so yeah, and I'm doing better. The medicine I took is starting to um take effect. Did I just say I took drugs? Oh my goodness. What's everybody gonna say? Although I am kind of running out of things to talk about, believe it or not. Mr. Nicky just said, "Oh, you are sick. Running out of things to talk about."
Well, it's always sad if we can't think of something better to talk about than Todd.
Oh, I know. Oh, you said medication, not drugs. Then you said drugs. Okay.
Well, I used to have a neighbor, an old guy, who I'd hear him going out the door and he'd be saying to his wife, I'm going to go have my medicine. And he'd head over to the club for his daily 3 shots of whiskey.
That was cough medicine. That's what we could talk about. Like back in the day. Oh god, you can tell I'm getting old. Back in the day. Um, like how Coke actually had Coke in
Cocaine.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what Dr. McGillicuddy's uh liver pills or whatever
Uh,
had opium and all of that. I mean, we could talk about that and wonder how our ancestors survived actually, taking all of these things.
yeah, like you see some of those old movies and like the doctor is prescribing laudanum for somebody with a bad cough.
Yeah. Although they still do the codeine for somebody with a bad cough.
Mm. That'll be people in the future saying, they used to give people codeine and I just forgot the name of the what's the hillbilly heroin?
Meth.
Oh, is that I was thinking the pills that everybody gets hooked on. So the pain pills, and
Uh,
they end up turning to heroin then afterwards. Why can't I think of somebody's going to say it? The
Oxycodone.
yeah, that's it. Oxy, yeah.
Well, that tells you actually how good I am.
Okay, so I'm not sure if Cart is coming on to Spider Dog or what's going on here.
Percocet. Yeah.
Yeah, OxyContin is the I don't want to say the worst version or whatever. The codone is sort of like the what like
Like the
lesser
kids'
version of it.
version.
Yeah. They use man, my brain, the party drug, the
Ketamine.
no, no, never use that. No, stay away from that. No, what's the
Party
other
drug.
stuff? Um,
Cocaine.
no, 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 the not that kind. It's
Ecstasy.
ecstasy. Yeah, I was trying to think of the slang name for it too, but yeah, MDMA, ecstasy. They use that now in therapy for people with PTSD. They'll like give them ecstasy and have them talk through, the trauma and the ecstasy kind of separates them from the emotion so they can talk about, whatever it is, they saw a bunch of kids blown up in Afghanistan or, they were raped when they were whatever it is, but they can talk through it and the ecstasy makes them not feel it at the time until eventually they can start doing it without they can start talking without the drug.
Okay. And I secret. I think I was thinking the same thing as I thought that was mushrooms. The psilocybin in the
Mm.
mushrooms.
Well, there's probably different things they do like that, or they try different stuff. I know saw a thing on them using ecstasy the one time, and GMK,
Yeah.
no ketamine.
Now I do have to
God,
say I got pissed one time at the anesthesiologist. I had gone in for the nerve ablation in my spine, and I watched him push the ketamine, and I looked at him and I said, "I told you I didn't want no fucking horse drugs."
well, I didn't know they actually used that as a medication. I'd only ever heard of it as a horse tranquilizer that people were using to get high from. I didn't know they you know, used it legitimately on humans,
Yeah.
and they shouldn't. Never, never give me that crap again. I should make sure that gets put on my medical chart somewhere.
Yeah, you should.
Or when they say, "Are you allergic to anything?" Yes, ketamine. You want to give me opium? Fine. Just no ketamine.
Yeah, tell him I'm not a fucking horse.
Actually, GMK, I do kind of wonder if they overdosed me, if they looked at me and said, "Oh, we got to give him more than a normal human," because I just can't imagine. Well, in fact, because the anesthesiologist had told me ahead of time, he said, "You'll be awake through the whole thing, but you just won't be." He didn't tell me what they were giving. He just said, because I said something about, I've never been put out for anything before. I don't like to put out, you got to pay me. Um, and he said, "Oh, we actually won't be putting you out, but you won't feel anything. You won't really." So I wonder if he did overdose me because I was out at first. And then when I did wake up, it was like, yeah, no, I don't like this movie.
Well, and it could also be though that you were um not used to it. What is your starting price, Muck? Hart
Well, I
wants to
tried.
know.
Well, I don't talk about this once. There was a time when, I was having financial trouble and I did try, hiring myself out as a whore, but nobody wanted to pay by the pound.
Ha 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 ha. Yeah, and I think that's actually that right there is an example of I think why people actually like us to a point. Is because we can make fun of ourselves.
Well, I always said if you can't make fun of yourself, then you have no business making fun of other people. Again, go back to what we were talking about or who we were talking about. Todd, perfect example of the old dish it, can't take it. He can talk about other people and call them all kind of names and whatever. Somebody says something about him that's like, "Oh, you dirty, uh, cunt-lipped, cocksucking horror." It's like, geez, Uncle Todd, all I did was say that you have your memberships overpriced.
Yeah, so now we've got the chat talking about propofol and Versed and uh then there's also the what is it? Uh Dilaudid?
Oh, yeah, Dilaudid. I think that's an opium product, isn't it?
I think so. I don't know. Have a good night, silly girl.
I'll say a secret. Thanks for stopping in. Um, oh man, there was, like on the thing of making. That's what and I hate to do the kids these days kind of thing.
Mhm.
But one of the things that I have seem to see, and it's not everybody, but it does seem like a lot of the younger generation has much thinner skin than we ever. I mean, I said when I was growing up, it was like everybody was an insult comic. You know,
Right.
you
Well,
you were always making fun of each other. And well, what?
it has to do with these people who think everybody needs a participation trophy because you don't want to hurt anybody's feelings.
Yeah, yeah. Of course, you know what I always said when people first started talking about that, and they'd go, "Yeah, now everybody gets a trophy. Now these kids." And I'd say, Yeah, and which generation gave that to them? The kids didn't do it themselves. You know, it was
Right. And I have to say, even though I am part of it, uh, it's Gen X parents who ruined kids for the rest of the centuries. And I think it's because as Gen X, we overdid. We tried to compensate for what we didn't have, so we overdid it.
yeah. Well, I think we do that with everything. We always overcompensate, whatever the problem is. Like you take things, take sexual harassment, okay? And you say, how could we possibly you know, obviously in the past there was a very bad problem with the, cliche of the boss chasing the secretary around the desk and the Hollywood casting couch and things like that. And people said, we got to put a stop to this. And then all of a sudden it became, oh, hey, I like your sweater. That's it. I'm reporting you to HR. You know what I mean?
Right.
Everything. Or, people used to beat their kids, and then all of a sudden it becomes, nope, nope. As soon as that kid is born, you got to wrap them in bubble wrap and make sure nothing ever harms them. And, it just everything gets overcompensated. It's, I mean, and and I just thought of this analogy or metaphor, a pendulum constantly swinging back and
Yeah.
forth. Yep. I just came up with that all on my own. But that is what happens, that pendulum, it's way over there. Things are bad and it comes and it gets to that middle part where it's like, oh, this is just right, but then it just keeps on swinging. And that's when you get the participation trophies and you get the thing where, a 10-year-old is can no longer walk 2 blocks to the park by themselves or people are calling CPS on them, it's like,
Oh, I know. Uh, I don't wanna get sued, but hello, biscuits and gravy. Um, no, and you're right about that, okay? My kid now, I'm I'm different than a lot of the parents. My kids, I would let them do the same things that I did when I was growing up, home by the time the streetlights are on, go
yeah.
run the town, stay out of trouble. Granted, you live in a small town, you know where your kids are. If your kids do something, you know about it before they even get home. Um, and that could just be because the reason I'm that way is because I am in a small town. But the grandkids, okay, I can stand in the backyard and I can see, like, the park. It's a
Yeah.
block away, but the park actually abuts up to our property, so I can see them when they're over there. Somebody called the cops because the grandkids were at the park with no adult supervision. And then they passed a ordinance that no one under the age of 16 could be at the park without adult supervision.
Oh my God.
I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" Granted, if they, flew off the swing and broke their arm, I'm not gonna be there in 3 seconds and be going, "Oh my god," but I can be there, I can watch it happen, and I can be there within 30 seconds.
Lady, what would you do if somebody came and took one of those kids? Well,
They
I'd save a lot of money, save a lot
yeah,
of money on food.
yeah, they, yeah, they'd bring them back, they'd probably pay me to take them back. Um, but
There's an old O. Henry short story on that. And I forget the name of it, but these two guys kidnap a kid, and they end up like coming back and begging the dad to take the kid back.
Yeah. You know, and now my daughter, and this, it completely ticks me off. Oh, with the older boys, they're allowed to ride their bikes around town, but they can't cross the highway,
Yeah,
which is like, okay, what? You grew up riding your bike all over town, even crossing the highway. What the, yeah, why in the hell can't the boys cross the highway? Well, because, they both, the one fell off and broke his collarbone, and he was only 2 blocks away from the house, and the other one, um, being a typical boy, did it while he was at his dad's, but still, he was only, like, 3 blocks away from his dad's and wrecked his bike and broke his wrist, and that's her excuse for why they can't cross the highway. It's like, okay, but neither one of them were across the highway when they did it, so weren't even close to the highway. In case of women drivers, yeah, cart. Yeah, and it probably does have more to do with liability issues more than it does
yeah,
protecting the kids, but still, it's also a control thing. And that's why you don't let women drive. Oh, that still gets, I can't believe a 13-year-old who's not even driving said that.
I got to tell you though, it was so joyous that so soon after the operation, Caitlyn Jenner was in a car accident. You know, it's like went from being a premier athlete and became a woman and could no longer drive a car.
Yeah. Oh, and killed someone, Spider Dog?
Oh, really? I didn't. I just remembered her being in an accident. I didn't know.
Cart, I'm glad that that was, entertaining for you, and you had a smile on your face. Yeah, in her accident, a woman died.
Uh, well, it
Yeah.
kind of ruins my joke, then, doesn't it, asshole? See how Spider Dog just comes in and just brings everything down. Oh yeah, it's all funny until somebody gets killed. Yeah, damn Canadians.
And you're right, GMK. The
Yeah,
m parents making their kids wear helmets, and the helmet's on improperly.
that's what I read his comment and I said, I see parents make their kids wear helmets. And I thought, well, I think that's a good thing, even though we never had them. And then it's like, yeah, except they don't put them on right. So what good are they?
Well, I can tell you, um, actually today, it was today, one of the littles come over, and he was he had now, he dressed himself, he wanted to go outside. He had a winter boot on and a croc on. He had, yeah, at least he had shoes on. He had jeans on, and he had a summer shirt on, and he had his bike helmet. to walk across the yard. And I'm like, wow. And I asked him, I said, "What are you doing?" He goes, "I just wanted to come outside and play." And I said, "Where's your jacket?" Because it was only 52. And he looked at me and he goes, "I got clothes on. What are you talking about?"
You know, I can remember a couple of years ago seeing a clip. There was a show on for a while where the guy was sort of like a parent whisperer. He'd go to someone's house and, that said that they, you know, just had trouble dealing with their kids or whatever. And he'd go in and he'd observe them and say, "Well, why don't you do it?" But anyway, not not the kind of thing I watched much. But I remember seeing a clip, and the lady was like, she was saying how every day was a fight with her kid about what they were wearing, and like, it'd be winter time and they'd want to go to school with no coat and blah, blah. And he said, "You know what? They're not really going to get sick just going out and hopping on the bus." And he said, "Just don't fight with them about it. They get cold, and the next day they'll put the coat on themselves."
Mhm.
Makes sense.
But the funny thing about the bike helmet is he came in, he took it off, and then his little sister came in. She looked him in the eye, and she grabbed that bike helmet, put it on her head, and walked back out the door. And it wasn't hers, it was actually his. I
Oh,
was like, "Are
really?
you kidding me?"
Mm,
The one thing that I have to fight and argue with the kids about, even the older ones, is wearing shoes when they're riding their bikes,
oh, yeah.
because none of them, I swear none of them understand what brakes are for. They drag their feet to make their bike stop, and they still do it barefoot, and it's like, "Okay, you guys have scraped your toes raw, but you still don't wear shoes, so okay. Guess you still need to learn your lesson on that one."
Hey, GMK, welcome to the club. Cart Cart is like our fast talking untrackable. You just never know what she's talking about, but at least she spits it out. Yeah,
No, when we don't
yeah.
understand her, well, no, no, we have actually spent good amount of time Googling what she is saying. That's how you figured out what a budgie smuggler was.
Well, I was going to say, actually, I'm too lazy to Google. I just usually go, "What does that mean?"
I just realized that description of my grandson and his clothing, he
Yeah.
actually was doing the in between. He actually was dressing for spring. He didn't know if it was gonna be winter or if it was gonna
Oh,
be summer. So he covered both options.
yep, I'm I'm halfway prepared either way.
Yeah. Wow. I guess I have to give him props. He can only be 50% wrong then.
Mm.
Maybe he's gonna grow up and be a meteorologist.
Yeah. As soon as I said that card, I thought I'm going to pay for that one of these days.
Alright, so now, what else can we cover?
Well, the big news of the weekend was Trump wearing a baseball hat to welcome home dead soldiers.
Oh, I did not see that. I pretty much try and stay in my own little world. I have enough issues in my own little world.
Did you hear Todd's going to just go all gaming? I just I just looked to see if anybody had gone live, and I saw a thing where he's on his actual gaming channel now,
Yeah.
which doesn't it seem silly if you're just going to convert to all gaming? Why then have that other channel? Because I don't think he gets people there other than the people that watch him anyway, except he only gets 5 or 6 of them.
Well, and the thing about his gaming channel is he'll go over there, and because he doesn't get that many people over there, that's where he can do a lot of his bitching and moaning, and he thinks he's
Yeah.
hiding it.
Well, I still remember that time back when we were still getting along with Chris. I don't mean we, I mean like me and Finkel. Um, that time Chris was here and we were watching a clip of Todd in playing his game, and he was ranting and raving and talking to Chris like he was there. It was like, "Oh yeah, Chris. Well then tell me this. Oh yeah, Chris. You think you're so smart? Then do this." It's like he was having an argument with himself.
Um,
Um, yeah, Spider Dog was talking about that earlier. You know what I said about that is, isn't it interesting? He never was embarrassed to see like family or anybody else, but now he's worried about his kids that he plays the game with. He's embarrassed to be himself instead of in front of them. And yeah, it won't last.
hello, Graham.
Oh God, is he here again?
Mhm. And he even said, "Hey" to you first. Oh, I think they're trying to start an international war over there. Grim said, "Good day to all the Aussies," and then Cart says, "Oh boy, the Palms are taking over."
Oh, now that's an interesting analogy. Although I just go ahead and say suicide because, fuck
Yeah.
YouTube.
Grim's not an Aussie, I don't think.
No, he's British.
That's what I thought, is he's British.
and he constantly he hangs out with whales. I don't know if he's a marine psychologist or what it is. I just know he's all about the whales.
Whales are interesting.
You've been
Actually,
talking to
people,
them?
well, yeah, sure, I have. No, people say that like whales and dolphins are the way that they like communicate and stuff is a lot
Yeah.
like humans.
Well, sometimes I'll see dolphins like acting up,
Mm-hmm.
and you think, are they a little crazy or are they doing it on purpose? And by the way, Grim lives in Wales.
Oh, okay.
I guess he actually he moved from England to Wales. I think he was hoping they'd teach him how to sing because it's like the two things the Welsh are known for is digging coal and singing. I would say drinking too, but I think that's pretty much the whole place over there. The, the Scots and the Irish and those English with their warm beers.
Um, Aussie speak for British people.
Oh, I didn't know it was short for pomegranate. Because they turn red when they're in the sun. Well, I guess I'm a palm. I got to put sunscreen on just to walk by a window. Pomegranates are another one of those fruits that have way too many seeds for their size.
I've never had a pomegranate.
You know, it's kind of like avocado. Of course, they just have one seed, but it's 80% of their of the vegetable or fruit, whatever an avocado is.
Yeah.
Well, Kelly, I think you just have to learn to take the palm for granted.
Pomegranates require too much work to enjoy.
And you guys go to England for the rain? You know, I want to go someplace where I never see the sun for 9 months out of the year. Oh my God. You know how like a song will come into your head or something, and usually it's sparked by something or other. And I just had
Yeah.
something, it entered my brain. I have no idea why, because absolutely nothing has come up to spark it whatsoever. And you know, a lot of times it'll just be okay. I shouldn't say you, my brain. It'll be laying in the back there somewhere, and then all of a sudden you're like, "Why is that music playing back there?" You know, hey, turn
Mm.
that down. Anyway, what I was hearing was da 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 da
The
da
chicken
da da.
dance.
Yeah, and it's like, why? Nobody mentioned chickens. Nobody mentioned weddings. Nobody even mentioned dancing.
Nobody even mentioned polka.
Yeah, I don't know if this goes on for another 20 years. I might have to go and see somebody about it.
Why in the hell? Okay, I have no idea why your brain would have gone there.
Yeah, it just I might have told you before. At the library, I had my desk set up so I sat in this like bay window or bow window, depending on who you were talking to. And, you know, like I had my back to the window and I could look outside all the time. And we were next door to the post office. And the one day I was sitting there and a song came into my head and it was your theme song, you know, do 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 do. And it took me a second to realize it was playing. And then I realized why. This one lady was walking by. She had gone to the post office. I was watching her walk by, and my brain just automatically started doing that. And because she really suited she would have made a good Miss Gulch. And your little dog, too.
Yeah.
You know, I think any fruit, vegetable, humanoid that you need a YouTube video to figure out how to eat just isn't worth the trouble. Okay.
I was in a punk band that would play the chicken dance.
Huh. You
But
know, I remember seeing some videos from an English guy who had moved to America and he would do these videos on, you know, like going to a restaurant and they say this or just different things, the terminology or the difference between people act and that. What were you going to say?
I was gonna just ask because I really don't know. Is the culture really all that much different anywhere? I mean, uh, you know, doesn't every culture like, well, supposedly respect their elders, encourage their children?
Mm. Well, I'll tell you my thing. And we'll see what the foreigners and that have to say. I've often said, you know, I mean, I've never been a world traveler. I've been to Canada and Mexico. That doesn't, but I've known a lot of, known people of various cultures, black family, Asian family, whatever, Italian. And it does seem like you see a lot of the same stuff. You go, like you have a friend who is, Italian, is a perfect example for, you go to the house and the first thing is grandma's going to say, you look like you need food, you know,
Mhm.
and any of that, and it's like that, there's things like that are true against across all cultures. But the other thing is like, too, with today's world, I think it's like less and less differences in the way we do things because of like the internet, just knowing, you know, a lot of those words that like the English people get wrong and put too many U's in and stuff like that. Although I don't think you'll ever hear people going, USA, USA, oi, oi, oi. But,
You can never know. Maybe one of these days.
that would actually be fun to start, wouldn't it? If you could just get a bunch of people to be like going to football games or something and just start doing that. It'd be like, Steelers, 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 oi, oi, oi. I bet you if you got enough people do it would start catching on and you'd have people going, where the hell did that come from?
Mhm.
Oh yeah, like Dr. Phil says fundamentals of life are the same, but yeah, that's like you're saying. Pretty much everywhere, they want to give their kids a good life and stuff like that. It's people, it's not really cultures. Yeah. Um and another thing too that I mean when you talk about how some stuff has become a little more universal. Like when you mention food, I'm thinking about you go back far enough. Um, I remember I used to like to watch on when the Game Show Network first started. They used to have it was like classic. It was like Sunday classics or something. And they would show game shows from the '50s, and I can remember watching "What's My Line," and they
Mhm.
had Chiquita Banana or somebody like that on there, and she actually was telling people how to eat bananas. This would be in the '50s. It was like, well, you want to wait till the banana looks like this and you peel it like this. I mean, just think like the '50s doesn't seem that long ago because, you see Happy Days and that was just a couple years ago. But it was like people, the world was like so separated. A simple thing like that, people didn't know how to eat a banana because you just didn't get them. They just started the shipping and that. So little things like that kind of changed over time too, just because of airplanes, and stuff. And then you had TV. I can remember some of the shows that were big when I was a kid on TV was like National Geographic, and you'd see the
Mhm.
way people lived in Africa, or oh, I forget there was another show too that it was all about people in other countries and that. And then, like I said, then with the internet, it just really makes it how we know so much more about the rest of the world and who to hate.
And Dr. Phil has a good point. Americans, and I don't know about Europeans, but Americans treat their older people much different than an Asian culture.
Eh,
Um, you know, they don't have many old folks' homes. And See, to me, that's sad that we
Yeah,
here in America consider the older generations like a throwaway. Just, "Oh, put them in a
yep,
home and forget about them." What happened to the, 3-generation household? Um, the kid would stay with mom and dad, and mom and dad would help raise the grandkids.
yeah. Well, I know one thing. Well, it's been changing recently because of the American economy, but a difference that was with European and American households along those same lines is just kids moving out from mom and dad. It was never, at least like people I knew in that nobody thought it was odd for a kid to keep living at home until like they got married and got their own house. You
Mhm.
know, they were college graduates and stuff, but they were still living with their parents. And of course, here it was always like, yeah, you're 18, get your ass out of here. Like I say,
R
that's changed a little bit here now just because people can't afford their own places.
Right, and, I mean, I understand that a lot of it here in America had to do with the fact that we changed from basically, like, a farming culture to
Yeah,
the industrial, and that jobs were no longer available right around the corner. Um, so to have a job, you had to leave your hometown, but
well, that's true too. When we were a more predominantly agrarian culture, people didn't leave because they needed as many people working the farm as possible.
and they had 80 acres, so each kid got, a little homestead
Yeah,
area, but they all stayed right there, and but then, "Oh, come to the big city, you can make 5 times as much as you do at
yeah.
home."
Um, and here's the thing with the latchkey kids. I always thought, why give the little bastard the key? You know, if old people are throwaways, that is sad. It's like you can learn so much from those people, even though I always got bored with the stories and now I regret it. But, you know, oh, God, I don't want. Yeah, he kind of disappeared from the YouTube streets. Yeah, yeah, but if the grandparents are still healthy enough, then they're a bonus because the parents can be out there working and grandparents can be there for when the kids get home from school. Uh, yeah, yeah. A lot of people do not want to admit when they can't totally take care of themselves any longer. Oh, geez, I thought that said 60,000 at first. But yeah, even 6,000 a month is a lot of money. 72,000 a year. How many people could afford that? You know, my mother did that for a number of years, like the private home care thing. And the one, some of them it'd be like they just needed somebody there um, to give the daughter a break, or somebody while the person's kids are at work, and so that they'd have other people there to take care of their mom. But there was the one place she worked at where it was 24 hours, 7 days a week. They had people there for the mom because they could afford it. But the funny thing is, for Christmas time, what my mother used to get for a Christmas bonus from these people who could afford, you know, round the clock, 365-day a year care for their mother. It was like from the woman that she was taking care of, although it was, actually like whoever was in charge of her money. She got a $10 check as a Christmas bonus. And from the two kids, the son would give them one of those, I just forgot the name, what's Whitman, the Whitman samplers,
Hmm.
except this was a Whitman sampler. It
Oh
was
my
like a little
goodness.
box with like four candies in it.
Hmm.
And the daughter would give like this little, like a sampler perfume bottle, you know, and
Wow.
that's what they would give these women who were there taking care of their mother all the time. It's like, oh,
And
an
the
amazing.
Cubs, the Bears, yeah. They say, "Oh, go move into a senior community. It'll be good for you. You've got people your age who you guys can all talk about the same thing and remember things from back in the day." Um, but it's not the same as being around your family.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe because I have, my kids and my grandkids around me, I think different. But I mean, even my neighbors, the one who just died, he was, 83, and we would still go over there and hang out with him and, talk with him, help him around the house, and, you know, he he used to yell at the grandkids all the time too. He he was a bus driver up until, like, the last couple of years, so he knew all the kids and everything. Like I said, I don't know, maybe it's because I do live in a small town. He wasn't their grandpa, but he was their grandpa. If um, if the well, hell, if my kids got pissed at me, they'd go over there and talk to him and her, and it's like, I'm glad that I nurtured that in them.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking too, Nick Hub said about a lot of people that are never visited by family. I have seen so many times with somebody who still know the person who is still living at home, and a lot of times the neighbors are making sure they eat and stuff like that. And you never see them being visited, or maybe like once a year their daughter will come or something like that. And when they die, oh my God, their son and or daughter or whatever are there the next day making sure they get whatever they can out of that house, you
Mhm,
know?
mhm. That's how it was with my neighbor. You ever hear of Soylent Green? That was a movie, wasn't it? Or a book?
Yeah. It might have been both. It was definitely a movie, Charlton Heston. Um, it was one of those dystopian tales of a dark future, which at the time might have been, 1995 or something. I don't
Right.
know. But it was the regular people mostly lived on these wafers. There wasn't like a lot of meat and fruit and that available for regular people.
Mhm.
And they had like the soy and like blue, and it was like I said, it was a wafer, and it was like a packed with nutrition and that. And then they came out with the soy and green, and Charlton Heston learned that they were making that from the bodies of dead people. So there's
Okay.
the famous scene at the end of it. He's like running down the street screaming, "It's people! Soy and green is people!" So anytime you hear people mention soy and green, that's what that's about. Yeah, Kelly says at least they had food. Yeah, you say that now, GMK, but just wait till you say, how come Muckster never picks up after himself?
Right.
And I think if Jeff hasn't announced anything by now, this will be another Jeffless night, which is
Um,
why we've got people here.
Probably. Because there's nothing else on that people wanna watch, so they'll come over and they'll watch the boring people.
Uh, I had a friend who was totally hooked on QVC. I swear, when she died, she had a bunch of unopened packages of like jewelry and stuff. It was like she was like a shopaholic with QVC. But I always remember a bunch of us went to a movie, and when, of course, we always go out to eat afterwards and stuff. And I remember her and another friend, they were talking about these two people, and it was like, oh, and did you see like David and Liza are talking about getting married? And oh, did you hear he said this? And I thought they were, because they were both nurses, I thought they were talking about somebody they knew at the hospital or whatever. And then I realized they were talking about QVC presenters, that they were like actually involved in people's personal stories and that too. I didn't even realize that went on there. Yeah, Kelly, it's pushing 11 here.
Yeah, it's
That
not
would be
He didn't put it in Discord, but I
Okay.
will tell you, thank you, Kelly. I forgot where I was, that I just saw it. Oh, your idea for the MTG deck with all of the Todd Gang misfits, um, Kelly told Spider Dog about it. But actually, Kelly had quite a few good ideas. Let's see. Certain people who are special one of a kind cards like JJ spreads corruption effortlessly, no brain cells required. Uh, GE Swag, the Chomo card. Then have a booster card for Todd called the Barney Fife card. Todd's wife gives 1 bullet to Todd, so he's not completely defensive. A campfire card that allows you to challenge 6 players at once and get your ass kicked. The Finkel card would be impossible to explain, but just does the exact opposite of reality.
That would be good.
Spartan said you'd have to make an instant card called Blame Israel. Play this when you are proven wrong. Synagogue of Satan has to be a powerful artifact of some sort. Then Spartan put your wife's gun is an enchanted creature card. You can put it on one of your creatures for +2.
I'll be right back.
Alright. Yeah, you did have quite a few decent ideas, Kelly. So did Spartan. Spider Dog, you said there's so much gold in it. You guys should all get together and do that. But, I mean, I have no idea how all that works, but I love all the ideas. Um, yeah, I think that that would be something that, could probably be marketed to a lot of different people, and, have everybody say, "Well, I've got this card, and I've got that card." I I don't even know how to play Magic the Gathering either, but I think it's based off of the old D&D. Um, yeah, there's just so much that could be done with it. It's just somebody has to have the creativity to do it, and not only the creativity, but the time to do it. Yeah, there's enough people to make cards for it. It could be really fun to do. We would need a Kaiser card too. Um, yeah, but what would be his special power? Um, or, you know become part of this cult thing and earn 20 followers, I don't know. Or, um, being able to hide out for or not get caught doing whatever. Yeah, cult leader. Or, like, if you have the Kaiser card and you play it, you instantly get 5 of your, uh, opponent's cards. I don't know. Nikki Cliff and Boot cards. The Nikki card wouldn't be worth anything. Uh, Cliff, I'm not sure. Um, And Boot, I don't know. Boot, I mean, the Kaiser card won't be available for 5 years. Cliff actually would be like a keeper of the gate, like, type. He can, he could go anywhere and get along without anybody per se until, they piss him off about whatever. Um, I don't know that much about Boot, but Boot seems to be another one that could go anywhere and fit in anywhere. A Tuttle card. Yeah, but like you guys were saying, Tuttle's disappeared. Maybe he's gone into hiding. I don't know. They do seem quite fun for some people. The Dungeons and Dragons, MTG, all of that. They do seem quite fun for some people. For me, I can't play games like that because I
Have no imagination.
pretty much. No, it's not just that I like, I guess you could say I like action games like
I was
Pac-Man and Centipede and
I was just gonna say you want more action. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I used to play Dungeons and Dragons a lot. That was fun for me. And but of course, I think it makes a diff. I always read a lot of fantasy books,
Mhm.
and so that's Dungeons and Dragons is based on all that kind of stuff. So while I was gone, did anybody come up with a Muckster card?
No. Wyatt, the troll card makes the player explode in anger, causing self-damage. No, they came up with Nikki, Cliff, and Boot cards. I said the Nikki card wouldn't be worth anything. Cliff and Boot, they could go anywhere and do whatever in any setting.
How about the Mr. Carry card? Doesn't really do anything, but it's always present.
Yeah.
There's one in every deck.
The track card, the way to put your opponent asleep. Muckster card causes a lot of smoke, but very little damage. You're an ass. He just said the Nikki card, shackles and chains.
The Muckster card is not dangerous unless it's interrupted by another card.
Yeah. Like I said, I mean, for some people, it's a good type of game. But I read all the trackable card. No one knows what it does. I've read the fantasy books and stuff, and the wizards and warlocks and
Yeah.
magicians and all of that. I could not, I could never get into Dungeons and Dragons.
Well, the thing, well, I played like the original Dungeons and Dragons. Well, not the very original. I mean, we had the character sheets,
Mhm.
and we had several books, you know, the monster manuals and stuff. The original was very basic, but anyway, um, and back then it was pretty much all imagination. It was in your head, you know. Once they started doing things where I see a lot of times they'd have little figurines and maps that they'd move them around and things like that kind of thing. It loses interest for me, you know. But like, you know, I won't really make fun of people usually for playing stuff like that. It's just that for Todd, it's fun to make fun of him for anything, and also it just seems like a weird thing for him to be doing. Oh, it's in the fifth edition now. Yeah, there's something I was going to say about it. I forget now. Yeah,
Yeah, like I said, if I'm gonna play a game, it's gonna be, you know, like a
yeah,
quest game, you know, where you've gotta collect this and you've gotta do this, and then you move on to the next stage,
yeah.
or, you know, the old Pac-Man where you have to use your brain a little bit to do whatever. I don't know, that's just me, though.
Well, um, like with the D&D, it was interactive because you know you had to work together as a team to figure out how you were going to beat the ogre or whatever. But oh, I know what I was going to say. That is, I really would love to see somebody do a deck like that. You know, create all the cards. You know, have the all the different. But people leave Spider Dog alone. He's got enough chores already lined up. He doesn't need to be working on this too. Yeah, Dr. Phil, who would be doing something like that? That'd be like one of those guys who's still trying to relive his youth, you know, with surrounding himself with the guitars he never plays anymore and being like, yeah, I used to be in a band. Yeah.
No, it's not reliving his youth. It's um,
But
reminders of who he used to
uh,
be.
we're talking
And
about the Star Wars collector, by the way.
I know, I know.
Okay. I didn't know
It's
if you
not
were switching.
reliving his youth. It's just
Yeah.
reminders of how he used to be before life caught up with him and made him have to give up all the fun stuff.
Yeah. Or Spider Dog. You can see Spider Dog sitting there talking to kids, going, "Yeah, this guitar here. I went back when I was with my band, the Quebecy Cornholers, and my beard was only 2 inches long." Yeah, yeah, Dr. Phil. Exactly. Whatever makes someone happy. That's like I always said about like you'll see people, and I mean, yeah, sometimes I'll do it as a joke, but people who really put someone down for like the kind of music they listen to, or even like the TV that they watch and stuff like that. It's like it doesn't affect you. What do you care? You know, if they enjoy it. On the other hand, if you're spending all your time watching Honey Boo Boo, don't think I'm going to take any of your recommendations for what I should be watching.
Right.
I was just saying that to Ariel last night. Have you noticed how anytime something gets really popular, then you're always going to have people putting it down, you know? You know, good example like Taylor Swift, okay? You might not like her music or whatever, but there's a billion people who do. So what makes you right, you know?
Mhm. Um, well, and like you were saying, how popular things, come and go. Just like
Mm.
that stupid, uh, the everybody making that big hullabaloo about the McDonald's CEO taking the bite out of their new burger. He took a little sissified bite, and now you've got, like, Burger King and Wendy's and everybody, their CEOs, Burger King
Uh,
CEO took a great big ol' huge bite and said the only thing that's missing is a napkin.
mm.
But that's gonna die down.
You know, when I remember from a couple years ago was a bunch of people getting upset over a multiracial family commercial. You know, I think it was like I think it was Cheerios or something. And I remember all these people were, well, the Todd types. They were all upset that they portrayed a multiracial family. And I remember thinking, oh, I haven't seen this commercial. What upset them so much? And I looked it up, I Googled it and watched the commercial and I thought, oh, I have seen this commercial. And it had never occurred to me that they were multiracial because they showed the dad in the living room with the kid and the mom was in the kitchen. Now I'm sure if they'd have been sitting next to each other on the couch, I'd have noticed,
Mhm.
but it just didn't wasn't that important to me that I thought, oh look, the dad's white and she's black or whatever. It's like people just look for things to be upset about. Yeah. The spider dog gave up on playing in bands and now he's finally going to learn how to play an instrument. That's cool.
Yeah, if you don't look for race, you don't notice it.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, in your mind, you see somebody and your mind categorizes, you know, black, tall, skinny, blonde, whatever. But it's just like it's not something that is really in the forefront of, oh, well, they must be this.
Right.
I just, I had to look. I saw Todd's gaming channel was live. So I looked and he has 6 people watching him play the game. So yeah, his whole thing of going just gaming will work out really well. I think you missed a word or something there, Cubs. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong.
No, he
Trying
didn't.
to trying to highlight YouTube again. Oh, A and W. Okay, I didn't see the A before. Okay. When I lived in Pittsburgh back in the 20s, um, and one friend of mine, his little sister was dating a black guy, and they always had to be very careful where they went when they went out, because there were some people that just didn't like it. Well, you know, the thing is, the Cubs, Trump likes to get like he likes to go to like White Castle, because then those burgers there make his hands look big. I still remember that was like back when he was first running, and he said, "Oh, people were talking about me having small hands, and you know what they're really trying to imply is something else." But I can tell you, there's no problem there. And I thought, what person who wants to be president talks this way? And much surprise to me, all those idiots voted for him anyway, no matter what kind of stupid crap he said.
GMK, did you leave a word out?
Oh, I do that all the time. I'll leave the NT off and it totally changes what you meant to say.
Yeah. I mean, I hope if you went to White Castle, you could eat the burgers.
I know I've told the story to some people before. I remember that one time I was hitchhiking out to Indiana, out into Indianapolis actually, and I was going across to Ohio. And this guy picked me up, and he said, he says, "Well, I'll tell you where I can drop you off," because he said, "Have you eaten?" I said, "No, not really." He said, "I'll drop you off. There's a White Castle down there, and then it's right where you can go down to the highway and catch a ride going towards Indianapolis." And I'd never been to a White Castle. I'd heard of them. And I remember walking in and looking at the board, and I don't even know what the burgers cost then. Were they a quarter? Were they a dime? Whatever. I just looked up there and I thought, wow, these are really cheap, And I thought, well, I've heard of this place, so they must be good. It's not like if you walk into some strange, you know, place but anyway, they're feeding you, like rat meat or something. And I remember I said to the guy, I said, give me a burger and a soda. And the guy goes, you just want one burger? And I was like, yeah, asshole. I mean, I didn't say it. It's what I was, it's like, well, you being a smart ass? Yes, I just want one burger. And then when I got the thing, I thought, oh, this is why he asked. because I'd never heard of sliders before.
All right. I've given you more than an hour, so
I'm giving you all more than you deserved.
yeah.
Yep, it was fun though. I thought we had pretty good conversations. Wonder,
Yeah, they
wonder,
went all over the place.
wonder if Ariel really did go to bed, because that would be really unusual for him, or if he just had a
Oh,
bunch of songs he wanted to work on or something.
he said something about going back to the Northwoods too.
Uh, Believe it or not, those people are too loud for me.
Okay.
But yeah, folks, thanks for stopping in. Definitely be back tomorrow unless something happens for our regular Monday night 6 o'clocker. And who knows what I'll post in between.
Right. Roadhog Kennel, hello and thank you. Roadhog, make sure you keep an eye on the weather Tuesday night into Wednesday. It's supposed to get pretty iffy.
Let me see what mine's looking like now. A lot of times you'll look at it and a couple of days later, that's a totally. So we got, tomorrow's supposed to be 65 and sunny. It's still going to be upper 60s Tuesday, but Wednesday we're supposed to get rain. Oh, actually, we have several days in a row of rain then. Next Sunday, it's saying snow.
I haven't looked that far out.
But yep, we're shutting down, folks. Thanks a lot. Have a good night. See you tomorrow. Hopefully, you'll find something else to occupy you for until you go to bed. Whatever.
Hey kids, got a song today? Tell Ariel, he'll sing it your way! Hey kids, got a song today? Tell Ariel, he'll sing it your way!
Press the button, share your idea. Watch him make a song in no time. Love songs, salsa, party jams too. Funny little songs all about you. Got a joke, a rhyme, a melody line.
Ariel makes a song every time!
Sing it, Ariel.
Sing it, Ariel!